everyone, and welcome to another creative session. I am Kelly Kraft, Program Manager at Gilda's Club Quad Cities, and we are live today for Creative Sessions Steampunk Birdhouses. I'm joined by Pamela Crouch, Executive Director at Living Proof Exhibit, and I will let her take it away.
Thanks, Kelly. Steampunk Birdhouses. This actually comes out of our Living Proof Exhibit's Make Hope Soar, the Birdhouse Project. We have the community working on painting and designing birdhouses. We're going to take these birdhouses and to our partners, including Gilda's Club, we're going to be giving these birdhouses out so that they can give them out to people who need a little bit of a lift or something, because on the bottom of each birdhouse is an inspirational message, a message of hope and support. And we all need that right now. And what's great about birdhouses is that you can do them by yourself. You can do them virtually. If you have a church group, if you have friends that you want to, all of you kind of paint the same kind of birdhouse, you can do these and then share them. It feels really good to do something that you know is going to make somebody else feel good. And that's what these little birdhouses do for everyone. But if you want to keep them for yourself, absolutely. What we're doing today is steampunks. When you think about steampunk, you think clocks and you think gears and really fun metal. Well, I don't have a lot of clocks sitting around the house, and the purpose of all of these is what can we do with the items that we have at home. I might not have clocks, but I have a junk drawer and I have a tool chest. I went into my junk drawer. I found interesting hinges. These are cabinet hinges. A whole bag full of washers. Washers come in all kinds of, which works better, we'll go like that. Washers come in all kinds of sizes and all kinds of colors. We have, these are bright reds from faucets, from old outdoor faucets. I do have, because I pick up stuff, I do have these really fun metal birds, and I'll show you. I use that on one of them already. And there's a variety of things. I won't show you everything right now. We'll kind of talk through it. Birdhouses come in all sizes. So what I've noticed is with these birdhouses, in the first place, when you buy them at the craft store, they're not meant to be outdoors. They're just glued together. And if you put them outdoors, the glue will come apart. So everything that I'm telling you and talking to you about today, if you get a birdhouse that is meant to be outdoors, use exterior paint. You can get exterior craft paint online. You can get it in the hobby stores. And any of the glues that I talked to you about, make sure that those are glues meant for outdoors. So that's the only translation you need to do if it's going to be an outdoor birdhouse. The birdhouses that I have absorb paint pretty quickly. And because I don't have metal sitting around to be able to cover every piece of this, I use a metallic paint. It's a little bit pricey. So what I did was I painted this just a base coat of just a plain old craft paint that you get at the store. And then I'm going to take some of this metallic paint. It has, if you don't shake it up really, really well, it separates pretty easily. So that's why I'm giving it a good shake. And you can see from the little brown birdhouse that I held up, it's kind of a flat color. What will be nice is, I hope, you'll be able to see, once I kind of just put a quick coat on the roof, you should be able to see how it starts to shine and it starts to get a little bit of a metallic feel to it. All right, that's a very quick first coat. Let's see how this works with my lighting. Oh, that looks perfect. You can tell the difference exactly, right? All right, so here's the flat side. And then you can see it kind of shines a little bit. You can kind of see that it shines. We're working with what we have here at home, and that includes my lighting. But that's very simple. You can pick up metallic paint. I used bronze. I also have silver and gold, copper. There's a wide variety of metallic paints. This little guy is painted in a simple gray, and then I covered him in silver. I wanted to show you what happens because so many of these really fun metal pieces of grungy. This looks super, super shiny right now and a little bit too perfect. So I am going to, let me show you. I'm bouncing around a little bit here just to kind of show you things. I'm not going to glue anything because it's indoors. And my glues that I use for metal are very toxic. So I always glue outdoors. Make sure you have good ventilation if you need to use a respirator. There are a couple of different glues that I use. I'm not going to promote a particular brand here. Check at your hardware store, your craft store, but be aware and read all the labels because these are very, very strong glue. You have to have them strong to be able to hold onto the metal pieces. So here's a bright and shiny silver birdhouse. And here's a fun washer. When you see this, you can see that it's like, wow, this looks really pristine, and this looks kind of grungy. So I need to grunge this up a little bit. I have multiple brushes that I have, so you can see the difference. Here's a pretty painting brush, and then here's a brush I use to grunge things up with. It's a different texture. It may or may not have been taken care of. Maybe I didn't take good care of it. But sometimes when I paint on rocks or I paint on rough wood, the inexpensive brushes, the bristles get kind of worn down. I'm just taking a little bit of black paint again, and it's just the plain acrylic. It is not the shiny metallic. Dip my grubby brush in here. This is really official. I have a napkin and I brush off a lot of the paint and then just kind of look around. Where would grunge normally stand? Well, let's see. It's going to be under the eaves. So take a little bit of that. Take it a little bit on the roof and around the corners. So you can kind of see that I'm starting to grunge it up a little bit. Where would the normal grunges go? That was my son who just walked by on Facebook Live. So I'm kind of grunging it around here. And that way, when I add anything metal to it that's been well used, it's not going to stand out quite so much. So we can kind of see that, you can see especially under the awning or under the little roof and on the edge here, I made some dark spots for it. Just, like I said, grunge it up a little bit. What does that look like when it's done? Let me show you. Like this. This is a washer. And then there's just a gear. This on the edge of the little is a nut. Literally just a little nut that I glued to it. There's a little gear here. And the, boy, this is really reflective. I'm usually not on my front porch, so I'm seeing some of the issues I'm having with lighting here. Everything is kind of grunged up a little bit. I didn't do anything else to this one because I just kind of did it last night. It needs something else. So, car parts. These are out of a car. These little extra pieces. And very simply then, you can do that. You can take the car part, the spring, and add it to the top. If I had something, and I think this one could really use it, I'd like to get some fun metal pieces and maybe doing some design or shingles on the roof. You can always do something on the back too, especially because these pieces, if you notice how it's hanging, this is really heavy. So if you want to hang it, it's going to always kind of lean forward a little bit. You need to put some weight in the back to balance it back up. What else can we use? Well, here's one that I painted. I started off with the brown, then I added the bronze, and then I grunged it up with the black. Then I went back and I used gold metallic because these really interesting hinges that I think kind of look like, well, if you squint and look sideways, they kind of look like clock parts. They have a bit of gold on them, and there's a lot of black to them and a lot of different colors. So I wanted to give some color and some depth to it. So this one has just two hinges. These are the hinges that I glued to it. So let's see, these little hinges I glued right to the top of it. What's interesting is that anytime you're gluing something to a slanted roof, you have to hold on to it. Otherwise it slides off. It seems obvious, doesn't it? And you can use a painter's tape to hold it if you have something better to do. But I was just sitting around chatting and talking to my dog and enjoying doing that. So I just held it. And I think that I don't have anything right now, but I might try to get something on the top that looks like it's flying out so I can add some height to it because there's quite a bit of space between the roof and the first hinge. So I think it'd be fun to find maybe fun springs or fun something. I don't know yet. I'll know it when I see it. And then up here, again, just a simple washer. This washer has a little bit of depth to it because it got bent, which is perfect. I love imperfections. It works great. So that one's still in process. Here's one that I think I told you I had the metal birds. So this one, painted silver. I painted the roof black, and then I really grunged this one up. You can see there's a lot of black grunges on this one. Two different sizes on the opening for two different size washers. Just a fun, strange little gear, another piece of metal. You can see it doesn't take a lot to make it sort of get that steampunk look. Again, we're not going out and buying things. We're using things in our junk drawers. And when you put furniture together or some metal pieces, you have extra, because doesn't everybody have extra when they put stuff together? I do. Pull those pieces out and you can reuse them. For the bird, I took a washer and gave him a monocle and then glued him on the top. So he's very sturdy. He's not going to go anywhere. And he's definitely not an outdoor bird. I did another one. And this one, because the hinges were so bright and coppery, I just painted it copper. And everything on here is a bright copper. So this is a very shiny one. Let's see what we can do here. We've got some other pieces. I just want to show you some options. You can pick up at, I love going to Restore. And when you go to Restore, you're also supporting another nonprofit. If you haven't checked out Habitat Restore, they have fabulous pieces of metal, and they always help. They're helping people get their own homes. So when you purchase fun metal pieces to make your artwork, then you're also supporting another organization. I find little pieces like this. This is bent. Nobody's going to really be able to reuse it unless they pound it out. I always look for those kind of odd pieces. Speaking of odd, this is going to get very odd because I'm going to be holding things up to give you the idea. If I had a big birdhouse, then this could easily be right on the front. And it could be a lot of fun. You could do the big birdhouse. This birdhouse would work. I could still glue it. I would just need to put it on a pedestal or pick up an old heavy candlestick and glue it to the top of that. And you could have birdhouses of different heights in your house. It would be a lot of fun. I'm using this as my example. This is the biggest birdhouse I have. You can make birdhouses in tons of different sizes. So I showed you earlier these little washers. Again, how fun. That makes it so interesting, and it kind of gives it this strange little look, which is sort of what steampunk is. I showed Kelly this earlier. What if, because if you're like me, you have random parts that you're trying to figure out where did they come from, and oops, should I put them in whatever I was building? This is just a simple bolt. And I found this tiny little spring. I mean, it's really tiny. But when you put the spring on top of the bolt, and it does fit perfectly, I would probably put a touch of glue on it, but then you could glue it to the top of your birdhouse, and there's kind of a little smokestack, and because it's a spring and it kind of is wonky, that's very steampunk. So you can use your imagination and build pieces, even though it's like, well, what do I do with the spring? What do I do with the bolt? Put them together, and you have a smokestack. I also found a hose clamp, because doesn't everybody have hose clamps? And this one is, I'm going to hold it up against here. It could easily just go right there. but also it could go on the side and you could build it up and put some different pieces out here, even nuts. And you saw how I used a nut earlier, nuts and bolts and various pieces. I wondered what would happen. And this, don't do this if you have small kids because these will be sharp. But look how cool a screw looks on top. You can do screws on, oh, you can't see that. My hand is in the way. Let's try that. There, you can see it screws all along the top or along here. Even if you don't put them all the way up, you can just do a row of screws along here. It's really interesting. I found pieces of random hardware. These are staples. You can use staples. If you have old thumbtacks, like the metal ones, how cool would that be to put them on a roof as shingles? Imagine thumbtacks as shingles. And you notice I keep using the word imagine. That's what these sessions are about. You have things sitting around your house that maybe they're just sitting in your junk drawer. What can you do with those? A birdhouse, you can put them on a birdhouse. There's really no right way or wrong way to do this. Your birdhouse is going to, your steampunk birdhouse or metal birdhouse or punk birdhouse, whatever it's going to be, is going to have its own unique design. So this, I found this in my tool chest. So we had a banister and it needed stronger supports. So this is a banister. I'm looking at it going like, oh my gosh, if I had an outdoor birdhouse so I could screw this in, it would be the coolest little birdhouse. It would be the perfect little place for birds to hang out. So I'm going to kind of hold on to it. I think it used to originally be a different color. It's been painted multiple times. I like that. But I'm going to look for a big birdhouse. So I can screw this in, and then the hole would be, so it would look like that. So ultimately, that's the birds could hang out before they go in and make their nest. You can look, and if a piece is too big for one of the small birdhouses, feel free to go out, build your own birdhouse. You can order them online. You don't even have to leave the house. Everything that I am showing you, except for your junk drawer or your tool chest or dig around in the garage, everything else you can order online. You don't have to go out if you don't happen to have metallic paint or birdhouses. Birdhouses are easily available online. I'm trying to make sure that I've talked about everything here. You can tell I got a little excited. I put together several birdhouses and then I got going and I was like, ooh, and what about this? And ooh, what about that? So yeah, there'll be several more birdhouses coming to our Make Hope Soar project that are going to kind of look like this. I want to make sure that if you have any questions, share any ideas, livingproofexhibit@gmail.com. You can always email me your questions, especially if you have questions about the glue or any metal pieces, any paints, I can get more specifics. Then I do want to remind everybody that in August, we're going to have a virtual creative session with Gilda's Club, and Marla Andich is going to be teaching us to use polymer clay, and is going to be making some beautiful pieces out of that. Register through Gilda's Club. We have Art2Go projects available if you're at home like I am and you need more projects. Let us know, livingproofexhibit@gmail.com. Check us out on livingproofexhibit.org or on our YouTube channel. Also, our exhibition in September, which is featuring several local artists, is going to be at the Figge Art Museum. And so check it out. Look for information on our website coming soon. We're not going to have a big celebration. We're keeping it low-key this year, but the art will be at the Figge, and it's a beautiful celebration. And if you can't get out, we're going to be making it virtual as well. We're covering everybody here to make sure that you're getting the arts brought to you and that you're able to participate in as much as possible. That's it for now. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Pamela. That was so much fun. Sign up for that creative session that Pamela was talking about at gildasclubqc.org/calendar, and we will see you all next time. Thanks so much.